One of the big problems in the world today is the problem of economy. Not just because of the corona lockdowns, which multiplied the economy problems, but even before the corona, for many years, since the capitalism is existing in the world, we have a problem of economy problem. If you can go back to the Ottoman Empire, which was not an capitalist kind of economy, there was no such problem. It's not that we have lack of rice or we have a lack of water in the world today. We have no problem with lack of resources, the gas or petroleum or oil or animal products or vegetable products or basic needs. It's not a problem with the things. It's not a problem with the commodities. Commodities are not short. The problem is the distribution of the commodities a problem. Not the problem, the shortage of the commodities, but the problem, the capitalism distribution of commodities through the wealth, through the money, the paper money, or the card money, or the electronic money. That's the problem. If you can go back to the time of Prophet Adam alayhi salam, just try to be there in that time. When Adam alayhi salam was on the earth, and his wife, and when they have children, so they have to produce the rice, they have to produce the wheat, they have to produce the animals by the will of Allah, to grow up the animals, the cattle. And they have no problem. There is no shortage, there is no such problem of economy that time. But today we have lots of problem. When Allah created the things, the commodities, then Allah also created the things which can use as money. When Allah created the things like rice or the barley or the dates or the vegetables or the fruits or the animals like cattle, the cow, the sheep, the goat, the horses. And today we have more commodities, the more things like cars and airplanes, etc. When Allah created the things, then the thing to exchange them, which called the money, because money is used for exchanging the things. Because I have a rice, I grow the rice, but I don't have the wheat. So I have to buy the wheat. That there was a time when people they don't only use money, they use barter. Okay, I give you the rice, you give me the wheat. Or I give you the sheep, you give me the goat. I give you the cow, you give me the camel. There was also called a barter system. You exchange the things. But the human being always use the money to buy the things. So when Allah created the things, the money should be created by Allah. No one can just print the paper and they say, that's money, dictate you, that's money, use this one only. Subhanallah. That is shirk. Because you are taking the law in your hand, the law of Allah. When Allah created the things, then Allah to decide how to buy this. Not just with the paper you print in the factory and say, okay, use this paper to buy those things. No, it should be Allah only. And what are the money which Allah created? The two money, which is very well known in all out the human history, is the gold and silver. Anonymously. No one can challenge these two money. The gold and silver. And that's using by the human for thousands of years. And there was never any problem with the commodity distribution when you use the gold and silver. When the problem is started? When the paper money comes. And the more problem comes when paper money is not linked to the gold anymore. Since 1973. Since 1973, the American President Richard Nixon, he disconnect the connection of gold to the dollar, to the paper money. So money today is just a paper only. If the government say use it, then people are using it. But it has nothing to do with the gold anymore. Just a paper. You keep it, this is just a paper. Anytime that can be devalued. And that's happening today. Like one of the countries, Zimbabwe, African country. When he speak against the superpowers, their money was devalued. How much the devaluation? $1 is equal to 250 million Zimbabwe dollar. $1 equal to 250 million Zimbabwe dollar. Subhanallah. You want to buy one sack of rice, you need 1 truck of Zimbabwe dollar. 1 truck. You load the 1 truck of Zimbabwe dollar, bring one sack of rice you buy. Devaluation. So this money is a game. This money is a deception. How to make the world slave. Before people, they make people slave politically power. They make people slave with political power. Today, no. They don't need any political power to enslave you. They can just make you slave with financial power. They will make you financial slave. They will devalue your currency, so you have to go to them and work there like a dog to get dollar and euros. Go to Europe, go to USA, work like a dog to get the dollar and get the euro without dignity. Work as a slave. That's called the financial slavery. They make you slave through the money. And they can change the money. They can make it high and low. They can devalue others' money, and their money they can always going up. And it is the fault of us to accept this system. When Allah created the commodities, the rice, the wheat, the barley, etc., then Allah also created the gold and silver. It's coming from the soil also. The things coming from the land. The rice, the wheat, the water, the gold, the silver, everything comes from the land and from the sea. From the land and the sea, Allah bring out. So if you use the commodity to exchange the commodity, you use the money created by Allah, the gold and silver, you will have no problem of economy. You will have no problem of injustice. You will have no recession. You will have no economical destruction because you are following the law of Allah. But if the government makes their own paper, they just print $100, $50, $20, or 1,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 500 euros, okay, go, that's the money, buy everything. Then you are in a slavery now. You are in a financial slavery. Subhanallah. There are millions of people already died in 2020 with hunger. Millions of people. Go and check the website. Very authenticated website. Worldometer.com. Worldometer.com. And check how many people died with hunger today. And it's not just because this corona problem or lockdown. It's every year. Every year the millions of people are dying because of hunger. Especially in Africa. And why they are hungry? It's not because Allah did not create enough food on the earth. Allah created too much food. It's not that there is no clean water in the world. Allah has created so much clean water. Even if we are 1,000 billion, not 8 billion we are only. Even if you are 1,000 billion, we have enough water on the earth. Yet there are millions of people died in 2020 because of they have no access to clean water. It's not because there is no water, but because of the distribution of wealth. The distribution of wealth is unjust, so people have no access to the wealth, so they are becoming hungry and they are becoming thirsty. And they have no clothes. It's just because of the capitalistic system which is based on usury, which is based on riba, which is based on interest, is destroying the world economy. I was reading I was listening to a lecture a few years ago, and that time, according to the lecturer, a respectable person from USA, African American, from Africa but from USA, he's speaking, and he said that 3 richest person in the world, Three richest person in the world, they have the wealth more than 49 poor countries. Can you imagine this? Three richest people in the world, their wealth is more than 49 poor countries. So 49 poor countries, their wealth is less than the three richest men in the world. Why? Because of the distribution of wealth is unjust. Most of the people in the world today, they are poor. And there are big numbers, in billions, they are below the poverty line. And it's not because there is no enough food on the earth, there is no enough commodities on the earth, and there is no enough water on the earth, but it's only because of the system of distribution of wealth. And if people will come to the Islamic system of economy, which is free from riba, and which teach us to use the actual money, gold and silver. If you want to use for convenience a paper note, it should be linked to the gold and silver. Without the link to the gold and silver, that will be a fake money. That will be a paper money or fiat currency, a floating currency which has no value at all, which can be up and down anytime, which can have inflation. Subhanallah, people are accepting inflation. Inflation is a deception. You have money, 10 million, and they say 10% inflation is normal. What is meaning 10% inflation? Your 10 million in the next year will become 9 million. So where your 1 million gone? Who took your money, 1 million? Where is gone? Allah make only obligation 2.5% zakat, the charity. So if you have a 10 million, you only give 250,000 pesos yearly, only 2.5%. But the inflation are sucking your 10%, minimum 10%. Your 10 million next year become 9 million. Try to recall, if you are 40 above, 50 above, try to recall. What was the money value before and what is the money value today? Nothing. We used to have one old man in our Jummah. He's 90 years above old. And he used to tell to us that when he was young, one sack of rice was only 7.50. 7 peso 50 centavos. And that was 60 kilos, not 50 kilos. 7 pesos 50 centavos. And how much the one sack of rice today? 2,000 plus, 50 kilo only. So example, if you are a young man and you keep some money like 1 million pesos and you want it to use in your old age for your children, and after 40 years when you bring out this 1 million, the value is only 1,000 pesos. So where your money gone? You put in the safe, but the money value is gone. So that's the game. That's how the people are playing with your wealth. They are stealing your wealth and you don't know that. So we have to learn that. The scholars should learn this. Muslims should learn this. How these Muslim countries, they are enslaved with their currencies. If you are in Pakistan, dollar 167. $1 is 167. You have to work for 167 years to earn what the person in America can earn in 1 year. What the person in America can earn in 1 year, you have to work for 167 years because the currency ratio is 1:167. So what you have to do now? You have to go there to become a slave. How many million people in Philippines, they work abroad? They go to USA, around 3 million people. Why? Because the currency is strong. So it's a game. Playing with the game to enslaving people with the currency, with the paper currency, which is not linked to the gold anymore. It's just a paper and they dictate the power. How powerful? You dictate your currency. But it has nothing to do with commodities. It has nothing to do with gold and silver. It's just a deception. So that's very important topic for us as a Muslim. There was some going on in the world today about this situation. That people are talking about that we should not accept the dollar. We should go for the gold coins, silver coins. Because the people are realizing now that what really the game is. How to enslave the people with this paper currency. So may Allah guide us. May Allah forgive us. May Allah give us, open our eyes to see the truth. Ameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله. وقال الله تعالى يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Allah will diminish the riba, the usury, the interest, and وَيُرْبِ sadaqat, and Allah will increase the sadaqat. Why the economy is destroying? What is the link to the economy? To increase and decrease the economy is a buy and sell. More buying, the more seller will get business, more seller will get business, more people get jobs. And economy will run because there is a buy and sell. When people make the fake money with the paper money, which has no link with the gold, and they are making the money, and the World Bank has to give to the federal banks in the world. Every country has a federal bank, or state bank, or central bank. So World Bank will give the loan to the federal banks in the 200 countries, and those federal banks will give the loan to the other banks, and other banks will give loans to the very rich people who has collateral, and those rich people will give to the less rich people, they lend the money on more interest, and they will give to the less rich people, and then when it reaches to the farmer, the money has already 200% extra value. That is the reason of economy destruction. Because money will be loaned from the World Bank to all the banks, including the so-called Islamic banks. They also get the loan from the World Bank. And they are also interest-based. They don't call it interest. But the Islamic bank also working on interest. Just deceiving only. So World Bank will give to the federal banks, central banks, state banks, and then they will give to the local banks with another interest, and the local banks will give to the smaller banks with another interest, and those banks will give to the rich people with collateral, and then those rich people will give to the less rich people, and those less rich people will give to the other people like farmers with the industries, etc. The money has already added on 100 to 200% interest, at least 100% interest. So money has become expensive. And while the money is circulating among the money lenders, it is not using for industry, it is not using for farming, it is not using for agriculture, so you cannot use the money to produce the products. So money is stopped. Money is stuck up. It's like clot now. Like you have a clot in your body, your blood will not circulate, you'll get heart attack. So that's happening with the economy, heart attack. Because money is just going around with the money lenders, the banks, and then the money is circulating among them, not going to the real business. The production, the farming, the agriculture, the industry, money is just roaming around with the banks. Go to any country, go to Makati. Which are the tallest building there? Banks. Banks have the tallest buildings. Any country you go, New York you go, who has the tallest buildings? Banks. Because they hold the money. And they give to the others. And they give to others. So money is getting more and more expensive. So you cannot produce more and more products. And people have no much money to buy the products. So there is no more economy anymore. The USA, United States of America, which is 50 countries, they combine to make one country. United States of America. The 50 states become one state. And EU, the 19 countries, they join together to make one country, EU, European Union, and the Japan. These three countries, they understand what Allah said in the Quran. Yamhaqullahu riba wa yurbi sadaqah. That Allah diminish the riba, the economy will diminish, will destroy if you have a riba. And Allah will increase, will multiply yurbi sadaqat. When you keep on giving charity, the economy will get better. How it will better? If all the people in the world, they give money to the poor has money, they go and buy the products, the seller get the business, economy will run. That's how Allah is saying, وَيُرْبِ الصَّدَقَاتِ. When you give charity, economy will run. Allah will multiply it. The buy and sell should continue. The product should be continue to make. But the riba is like a clot. When you are allowing riba, the banks, World Bank will give to federal banks and to other banks and other banks, and to the rich money lenders will give to another money lenders. When reaching to the farmer, the money has already 200% interest. So how this farmer will survive when he is getting money very, very expensive? But in the case of the real money, when it is come from Allah, the gold and silver, there is no such injustice, which is already replaced with the paper money and is controlled by the World Bank and the federal banks and the local banks. So that's Allah said, يَمْحُقُ اللَّهُ الرِّبَا وَيُرْبِ الصَّدَقَاتِ. And Allah said in the Quran, O you who believe, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَا إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. O you who believe, give up the riba, give up the usury, give up the interest. If it is due for you, if you fear Allah, if you believe in Allah. O you believe, fear Allah and give up the riba if in kuntum mu'minin, if you are a believers. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. And if you will not do it, then take the war, the notice of war from Allah and His Messenger. So Allah consider it as a war. Because all the poverty is because of this interest business.